Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Please like and subscribe my channel and do support me for more awesome contents. Let's start the video. After school, after the meeting ended, Azazel and rias left because they still have things to do as teachers. The ORC prepared for the school festival with the remaining members. Looks like me and Kira have to do power-related tasks. I then glanced at Buku. She's looking at the documents used at the meeting and is reading it. She still hasn't returned to her good mood. What should I do? If I don't reconcile with her before the game, I'm scared that it might cause difficulties. Apologizing. It seems like she won't forgive me unless I acknowledge the cause and apologize to her. And I don't know the cause of it. It happened when I was having my head all puzzled over it. A light runs through the top of the table. The light drew a circle, and turns into a shape of a magic circle. It's a familiar symbol. Phoenix. Konko-chan mutters. That's right. It's exactly like Konko-chan said. This is the magic circle of Phoenix. It's a small magic circle which has the size to appear on top of the table, so is it a communication type? But who? Don't tell me it's Razor. What does he want? I was in suspicions, but from the magic circle a holographic image was projected and the face of a young woman appears. She has a high-class atmosphere and looks. She has her hair up and adorned with expensive-looking accessories. Okay, Asama. Ravel made a shocking voice. Okay, Asama? Ravel's mother? So that means she is the wife of the current head of the House of Phoenix, which also makes her the mother of Razor. She's pretty. She looks like she is in her 20s. Since she is a devil, I don't know her real age. But she certainly looks like Ravel. How do you do, Ravel? Sorry for the call suddenly. I couldn't get any time, so I ended up calling at this hour. In the humans world Japan, it's still school time, right? Why yes, it certainly is, but why did you call all of a sudden? When Ravel asks, Lady Phoenix says ... Are rias-san and Sekiryu Chuhutai-san here? The one who was called by her is Buku ... And me? Why me? Buku stands in front of the projection. How do you do, Asama? It's been a while. Era, rias-san. How do you do? It certainly has been a while. And, the lady looks around. Is she looking for me? I position myself where she can see me immediately. Hello. I'm Issei. Hello to you too. This is our first time meeting like this, isn't it? Issei-san of the Sekiryu Chuhutai. I apologize for introducing myself like this, and no. So do you have some business with me? I ask while acting politely. Yes, I thought I should greet you properly. Normally, I should go and greet myself to rias-san, who is in charge of the Highouter residence and the academy which my daughter will be homestaying at, but there were reasons why we couldn't visit. You know, since the demands of the Phoenix's tier are increasing, so maybe they don't have time because of it. Kiba whispers to my ears. I see. House of Phoenix are the main suppliers for the Phoenix's tiers, after all. I heard that there are emergency demands on the Phoenix's tiers, and that they can't keep up with the supplies, so the lady must be with it as well. That must be hard. It's much appreciated, seriously. Buku replies while smiling. Not at all, Obasama. Your words would be enough. Please leave Ravel to us. I'm truly sorry, rias-san, for having you take care of Razor after the game, and also having you look after Ravel. It seems like she isn't saying it with bad intentions. I thought they would hold a grudge against us because the engagement was cancelled, but it seems like they don't even have a bit of it. There are so many big-hearted people in the House of Phoenix. But for Buku, it must be complicated. After all, she couldn't decline the transfer of Ravel and to look after her. Then, the lady looks at me. Also, Issei-san. Please especially look after my daughter. Me too? And she emphasized the word especially. Of course, I would look after. Why yes, of course. But Buku was also here, and there are people who can look after her better than me in our club. Yes. Of course, by entrusting my daughter Ravel to Rias-san and everyone else, then she would have no trouble at the school in the underworld. But, what I would like to ask of you is different from that. Will you please protect her so no weird pests would come near her? By having the Sekai Uriya who has gained many achievements next to her, then both my husband and I can feel assured, we're pests. So she's telling me to look after her so no guys would come near her in the humans world. I'm also a guy you know. Well, I won't do anything like laying my hands on Ravel. She's my important junior. She's cute, but I won't lay my hands on her. I understand. I don't know how much I can do, but I will protect your daughter. When I said that, the lady made a bright expression. And besides me, Ravel has her face very red. Hey, what happened, Ravel? For a moment, the face of Buku who appeared within my sight looked sad. But was that just my eyes? I thank you very much. Ravel, yes, okay Asama. You know what you must do? You have to support Rias-san, and you have to listen to your seniors, and on top of that you have to deepen your relation with Issei-san. As the daughter from the House of Phoenix, work very hard so you don't tarnish the name of our house. Okay? Of course. Looks like the mother and daughter are talking about something. I don't know why, but Ravel has her face red, and it looks like she is filled with spirits. And lastly, Issei-san, the lady talks to me again. Why yes. I hear that your dream is to become a high-class devil. Yes, it is. And my daughter is currently my bishop. I traded with Razor. Why yes, I have heard. Please remember it very well. My daughter is free. She is my bishop. She doesn't belong to Razor. Very well. Why yes. You understood. That's something I already know, but well, I just nod my head just in case. Hearing that, the lady nods her head. She looks satisfied. Why? My business here is done. Rias-san, Issei-san, and everyone, please forgive my sudden introduction. And, it's time now. Ravel, behave in a manner where you won't make a shame as a lady. Yes, okay Asama. Now then, everyone. Goodbye. Flash. The light brightens, it then turns into a shallow light and disappears. The greetings of Lady Phoenix which came here like a storm. It must be due to worrying about her daughter and the greetings to us. Though there were things I'm not sure of. I was in doubts, and may decide, and Buku who was about to leave the room unsteadily on her foot appears within my sight. Buku, where are you going? When I asked, Buku stops, and she mutters without turning around. Eyes, will you protect me? Why do you ask such a thing suddenly? I don't know, but my answer is obvious. Of course, I will protect Buku. And Asia? Eh? Yes, I will also protect Asia. And Akano? Akano-san? That is obvious. But what happened, suddenly asking me such a thing? I don't get it. I don't get what Buku's intention are at all. But, Buku asks with a lower tone. Hey, eyes. Why yes. To you, what am I? Who am I? I don't get the meaning of this question. But, to me to me Buku was Buku, and the moment I said that, baka. She scolds me mixed with the sound of her crying. Buku rushes away from the spot, and she left the club room. Right as on Izama. Asia goes after Buku. Asia turns to me after she reaches the door. Her eyes are soaked with tears. Why is Asia crying? Ai-san. You are horrible. It's too much. Why can't you understand Izama's feelings? Saying that, Asia goes after Buku. Having Asia also say that to me, I just stood there dumbfounded. Wow, wait a second. What's the meaning of this? Why is Asia also mad at me? That wasn't right, Ice-kun. Kiba makes a side. And not right as in what? That, precisely. Geez, you are so I can understand very well what the girls are going through. Exactly. It's natural for Rias and Asia-chan to get mad. Akano-san also sounded mad. Even Akano-san. Even I, who is dense at these sorts of things, thought you were a bit off, eyes. Even Zenobia looks at me with her eyes half closed. Eyes-kun, sure is a no-no. Poor Rias-san. Even Irina was mad. You are the worst. I just received the coldest "you are the worst" quote from Gonkil-chan. I don't know what I did wrong. I just don't know. To begin with, maybe I should go after her? I tried to leave, but I was stopped by Akano-san. The current Ice-kun will just hurt her more even if you go after her, so T. Seriously? Is it that serious? Bebit. It's my fault, right? My fault. I really don't know. No, I actually have a maybe kind of guess, but inside me that possibility is very unlikely. It's basically impossible, that's why I don't understand. Shit. I started to get confused even more thinking about it. Hey, Gasper. Am I really bad here? I asked my junior. Jayasuk says it in an apologetic manner while twitching his body. Yes, I think you are very bad. Even Gasper says that to me. I felt down. Then Ravel asks while panicking. This is my mother and my fault, right? I'm sorry. Is it Ravel's fault? It seemed like Buku tried to leave after the communication between the Phoenix mother and child. Akano-san places her hand on Ravel's shoulders. Ravel-chan doesn't have to worry about it. Ice-kun's the most at fault here because he never tried to think about the crucial thing between Rias and himself until now. Akano-san cheers her up like that, and she started to prepare for tea after urging Ravel to sit on the sofa. It looks like I'm the biggest villain here. What am I supposed to do? Scene breaks. I could be seen walking down the street towards his home. His mind still stuck on what everyone said. But he could not understand what he did wrong. So he decided that he would, for the time being, he should give them space and then eventually everything will be fine. But he was still confused as to why they were mad at him. So, for the next few days Sai ignored the occult research club as much as he could and spent the mere minimum time required. In the time that he was away he would go to the training room and get training in. And being honest, both he and Dreg liked the results that were coming. It seemed that the others would cool down and he would become stronger as a result. In Issei's mind it was a perfect win-win situation for both sides. It was after 2 months that Sai decided that he would now go and talk to Occult Research Club and hope that everything would be fine. His mind then took a turn to pervert land where it imagined him playing with Rias as a pie. He giggled perversely as he felt a little blood leave his nose. I am coming, Bucho. He thought as he made his way back home after securing 2 new contracts. It was a good way to open the conversation. As he entered his house he saw all the lights were already off. Maybe no one is back yet. I should go add my earnings to the account in the meeting room and then get some training in before visiting a pie land. He thought before finishing with a perverse smile. Making his way to the meeting room he was surprised to see that the lights in the room were on. I wonder who is in there? He thought. As he got closer he heard the voices of people talking. Deciding to investigate he hid his presence and moved closer to the door. Let's get this meeting underway before Sai gets back, said Rias. I wonder what do they want to discuss. It's not my birthday anytime soon, thought Sai. He also decided to keep on listening, and ship for more clues. His perversion is getting out of hand now. I do not know the last time I had a review which didn't mention his perverted nature, said Rias. The spite in her voice was as clear as day. Hearing her say that made Sayas widened in shock. Not to mention that he has been perving around other girls a lot more than usual. The amount of hate the club gets because of him is increasing day by day, said Kiba. This shocked Sai as he did not expect his best friend who he thought of as a brother to talk about him in such a manner. not to mention behind his back. He has also failed to confess to you. I am starting to wonder, is he even useful? Said Akano, her voice having as much spite as Rias's. Her words hurt Issei deeply as well. Were all the times he spent with her for naught? Was her hating her heritage all a lie to get closer to him? I too am becoming troubled by Issei's perverted nature. I may have to stop being with him if it gets any bigger. Said Deja shyly. Oh, to think that my childhood friend became such a perverted beast. Do not worry, Issei, I will save you. Amen. Said Irina, causing everyone to sweat drop. The words of his friends were now beginning to pierce him. Was all that he did for Asia nothing? Was his perverse nature all that his childhood friend could see? Issei thought as he felt tears forming in his eyes. I honestly think it was a mistake reincarnating him. I had also hoped that his perverted tendencies would go down a notch if he had gone through a near-death experience. I honestly would not even have thought about reincarnating him if he wasn't the Red Dragon Emperor. Said Rias. These words of her had finally crossed the line. He felt his whole heart breaking all over again. He summoned his gauntlet and looked at it. He at that moment realized that he did not mean anything to them at all. All they needed was his gear and his power. He was nothing but a tool for them to use and then throw away. He is the enemy of women everywhere. Said Gonko. He was used to her saying things like that. But this time it felt much colder and much more serious. I agree with you, Gonko. Maybe if I left him to die a little longer he would have lost his perverted nature and would have actually been able to confess to me. Said Rias. This shocked Issei even more. The one person he held more dear than anyone in the world would be willing to let him die. He did not think that they would go as far as they were right now. Well, nothing we can do can change the past, you know. Said Akano with a sigh. But change can always be brought in the future. Said Zenobia. It was at this moment that Issei decided to turn and leave. He could not handle any more of their slander. As he quietly left his home he started walking away. Thinking about all that he had done for this group and how they treated him for it. First was Rias. He literally gave up an arm for her to keep her from getting sold off to another family. Next was Akano, where all the times he complimented her and told her that he accepted her true nature, all just an act to reduce his perversion. Asia, the one he had saved from fallen angels and the one for whom he had nearly lost his life to Juggernaut Drive. Didn't want to stay with him just because of his perversion. Talk about selfish. Irina, his childhood friend and the one who could see goodness in nearly everyone, was not able to see the goodness in him. Kiba, his brother and all but blood, whom he had helped move on from his painful past, was willing to leave him just because of something like maintaining a perfect picture. And Zenobia, she only saw him as breeding stock for strong children. She did not care about his feelings. And lastly Gonko. The one he had protected her when her own family was against her, called him an enemy to all women. As he was thinking he noticed that he had reached Kua Park. This was the place where it had all begun. It was the place that Rias had appeared, and had saved his life. Wait a minute. How did she know where I was? Issei frantically thought before his brain connected the dots and broke his heart even more. Drake, do you think it's possible? Issei asked his resident dragon. Partner, now that you mention it, I think it was her familiar that gave you a summoning paper at the start of your date. I believe she knew of the Fallen's plan to kill you. Then she would come and save you. Earning your eternal loyalty, replied Drake. He himself was pretty angry on how that red-haired devil was treating his best host. Son of a bitch. They never cared for me. All they ever did was manipulate me, using my perversion to get the better of me. But no more. I am done being the nice guy. If they expect me to come back after what they said, and they are fucking in for a surprise. Drake, is there any way we can remove my evil pieces and get away alive? Issei finished his rant with a question. There is one. I will change your body into that of a dragon, answered Drake. Well then let's do it. I will remove my pieces. I want you to begin my transformation and then teleport me somewhere far away from here. said Issei, to which Drake grunted in agreement. Summoning the boosted gear, Issei shouted purge as he said that all 8 of his evil pieces came out his body. They were accompanied by a large amount of blood and a hellish pain. He turned and threw his pieces into a bush. Drake then teleported him to an unknown location. As soon as his feet landed on the ground, he fell down face first on the ground, with blood profusely leaving his body. He weakly looked up to see a blonde-haired girl in a distance. "Help me," Issei weakly called out before he fell unconscious. The blonde girl, who turned out to be Issei of the Valley team, quickly ran up to him and took him to her team's hideout. She then explained everything to Valley, who had both Kuroka and Baiku heal him. He would never admit it, but he liked Issei. He was like a fraternal twin of his. He needed to know what had happened to him to cause him to get into this condition. Albion then appeared and said, "Drake, what happened to your host?" He asked. He would never admit it, but Issei was one of the few hosts of the Welsh dragon that Albion had come to respect. He did not want him to die this early into the rivalry. "This will take a little bit of time. Also, I kinda need your help, Albion. I am currently turning him into a dragon to help him survive. But I need help in doing so without any repercussions," said Drake with a sigh. "Very well then. But you better explain as me, Kuroka and Issei help you. Volley, put your hand on his chest and leave the rest to me," said Albion. As Drake accepted his condition and started explaining everything that had transpired in the recent months. It took him a few hours to explain what had happened. During the time, everyone's expression went from shocked, sad to angry. Even Albion was growling near the end. As he helped Drake with the transformation, he then intensified his efforts to ensure that the process would go without a hitch. It was another few hours before the process was complete. Drake then said, "Wielder of Albion, I ask you to allow my partner to stay here until he wakes up. He will be able to leave by the end of the week." Volley just waved his arm and said it's not a problem, he can stay here for as long as he wishes. "After all, I am not going to let him die before we have our fated match." Drake thanked him as everyone left. The only one who stayed in the room was Issei, and she had a look of worry on her face. Back with the Occult Research Club. It had been a day since they had last seen Issei. Everyone was wondering where he was, but no one was particularly worried. They thought he would be back sooner or later. It was then that Zenobia asked, "Has anyone seen Issei?" "No, I do not think that he came back home from his contracts last night," said Akano with a hint of worry in her voice. "He will be probably perving around some girls." "We shouldn't worry," said Kiba. "I still think we should check to see his current location," said Deja as she looked at Rias, who sighed and said he better have a good reason for skipping school and club activities. She then took out her phone and called several times, but to no avail. The calls weren't getting through. She then tried to contact him through a communication circle, which too was unsuccessful. It was at this moment that Rias was starting to worry. He had never done something like this before. "I hope he hasn't strayed from me," she thought worriedly. Quickly closing her eyes, she searched for her pawn using the magical connection from the evil pieces. She found a signal at Kua Park. Sighing in relief, she opened her eyes and said, "He is at Kua Park. Let's go see what is he up to this time." Everyone nodded and got into a magical circle to Kua Park. They, however, were surprised to find it empty. Focusing her energy again, she found the signal coming from a bush. She turned to the others and with a mischievous smile said, "He is in that bush, let's surprise him." To which everyone nodded. But when they reached the bush and checked it, there is widened in shock. Almost instantly all of the girls fell on their knees and started sobbing. Whereas Kiba just looked down and clenched his fists. This reaction was because in front of them in the bush, along with a little flesh and blood, were Issei